Hello my intelligent friends, welcome to this first lecture on the topic of admission of a partner. This is a very important topic in your syllabus. One compulsory question will be asked on the topic of admission of a partner. Not only it is important from the viewpoint of examination, but it is also very important from the viewpoint of understanding how accounting works. Now remember, admission of a partner is considered as a special transaction in the life of partnership. Take the case of buying and selling of goods. This is going to happen on day-to-day basis. Purchase of assets, for example plant, machinery, vehicle, etc. That may happen maybe once in 2 to 3 years depending upon the life of the asset. But admission of a partner does not necessarily happen in the life of every partnership. Some partnerships may be started with 2 or 3 partners, or maybe 5 or 10 partners, and without admitting any new partner they may continue their business. And some partnerships, after starting their business, maybe after 2 to 3 years or maybe after 4 to 5 years, for the purpose of expanding their business, they may prefer to admit a new person as a partner in their partnership firm. So things may change. And then maybe again after 4 to 5 years they may admit one more person as a partner in the partnership firm. So we can't say that admission of a partner is a guaranteed thing which is going to happen either every year or maybe after every 2 to 3 years or something like that. For some firms it may never happen. For some firms it may happen after every particular period of time whenever they want to expand the business. So this is a special type of transaction. This is more or less like marriage. When marriage happens, a new person comes in the family. Generally, you will find that a girl comes in the family of the boy. So admission of a partner is more or less like marriage of a new person into the family, the firm which is a family. The existing partners are the existing family members of the particular partnership firm, and then they are admitting a new person. Now how to admit a new person? What are the legal consequences of the same? All these different things are required to be studied not in accounts but in law. Since our syllabus is restricted only for accountancy, I am not going into the intricacies of legal requirements, but one thing I'll surely tell you, that admission of a partner is a decision which can be taken only when all the existing partners are agreeing to the same. It is not a decision which can be taken by majority. Let us say there are 5 partners and 4 partners are saying that they are ready to accept 6th person as a partner, but the 5th partner is saying no, I don't want this new person as a partner, I am having some personal difficulty with him, or I don't think that he will be useful to the partnership firm. Then other 4 partners cannot tell the 5th partner that we are in majority, you are in minority, so your decision will not be considered and the decision will be taken by majority. No, it is not possible. The partnership law is very clear. It specifies that admission of a partner can take place only when all the existing partners are agreeing to the same. If some of them are not agreeing, it is not acceptable. Each and every existing partner must accept for admission of a new partner. Now when admission takes place, as an accountant, what are we supposed to keep in mind? What are the points which we are required to always look after, or what are the points which we should search for and account for it properly? That is required to be seen. So our discussion is restricted only for the accounting treatment, not for the legal requirements. Okay, so let me go ahead. What are the important points at the time of admission? The important points I can write as a timeline. First point, what we should consider. Second point, third point, and fourth point. These are 4 points. Please don't think that these are 4 steps. They are not 4 steps, they are 4 points. To solve these 4 points, we may require 5 steps, 6 steps, 7 steps, 10 steps. That depends. And each step may again involve multiple journal entries. So please don't be under wrong impression that since on the screen you can see 4 points, that means there are 4 journal entries at the time of admission. No, journal entries may change from problem to problem. How many journal entries will have to be passed? That may change from problem to problem. How many steps will have to be performed? That may also change from problem to problem. However, generally all the problems will talk about these 4 steps. That's why they are called as important points, not important journal entries. First one, old balance sheet. Second one, capital brought in by new partner. Third one, goodwill. And fourth one, revaluation. Generally the adjustments come in this order for examination of 12th standard. The adjustments come in this order. That's why I am writing the number 1, 2, 3, 4. But that does not mean that it must always be written like this. Sometimes the adjustment of revaluation may be given first and adjustment of capital may be given last. So that is also possible. It depends upon problem to problem. But don't forget, whenever you are reading the problem of admission, you must check what are the different adjustments given to cover these 4 points. First point, old balance sheet. Second point, capital brought in by new partner. Third point, goodwill. And fourth point, revaluation. Some of you will find it easy to understand how these points are required to be considered. Some of you may consider this diagram more easy. That when it comes to admission of a partner, we are required to consider these 4 points. It's a puzzle. The problem of partnership admission is basically a puzzle in which there are 4 different pieces. First piece is old balance sheet. Second piece is capital brought in by new partner. Third piece is goodwill. And fourth piece is revaluation. These are the 4 pieces which we should join properly so that our balance sheet will tally. So important points at the time of admission of a partner. First point, old balance sheet. What is the meaning of old balance sheet? Generally you will find that the problem of admission of a partner will be consisting of old balance sheet and adjustments. Like that of a final accounts problem, it was generally made up of trial balance and adjustments. In case of admission, it is going to be old balance sheet and adjustments. So first point is old balance sheet. Second point is capital brought in by new partner, because there is admission, so new partner is not going to come without any capital. There is a chance that he will bring in at least some amount of monetary capital, that adjustment. Third one is goodwill. Now what is the concept of goodwill? I am discussing in brief in this lecture. In the subsequent theory lectures I am going to discuss goodwill in detail. In today's lecture I am basically focused only on accounting aspect. That's why I am not going to do detailed discussion on that point of goodwill. I'll just give you a brief understanding of goodwill. And in the second lecture, third lecture, fourth lecture, we are going to deal in detail about goodwill, because the concept of goodwill, admission of a partner, the adjustment of goodwill is very, very important. So I will be devoting 3 extra lectures basically for the purpose of considering 3 different parts of the adjustment of goodwill. And then the last point is revaluation. So these are the 4 different points which we should remember at the time of admission. First one is old balance sheet. Just like in trial balance or just like in final accounts problem, what you used to do? You used to transfer the trial balance either to the trading account debit side or to the P&L account debit side or to the debit or credit side or to the balance sheet. So trial balance was posted either to the trading account or to the P&L account or to the balance sheet. Similarly, the old balance sheet will have to be posted somewhere. So the starting point of the problem of final accounts, is posting the trial balance. Similarly, starting point of the problem of admission is posting the old balance sheet, given balance sheet. Where to post it, how to post it. Now let us again compare it with our trial balance concept. In final accounts problem, when you are thinking of trial balance, the rules are very simple. If an item is appearing on the debit side of trial balance, I repeat, if an item is appearing on the debit side of trial balance, then it must be shown by us either on the trading account debit side or on the P&L account debit side or in the balance sheet asset side. Similarly, if an item is appearing on the credit side of trial balance, then it can go to trading account credit side or P&L account credit side or balance sheet liability side. So this is the basic rule which we have studied in 11th standard. Same rule I can consider here also. When we are looking at the old balance sheet and we are going to post it, then the rules of posting will be, if an item of old balance sheet is appearing on the liability side of the old balance sheet. If an item of old balance sheet is appearing on the liability side of the old balance sheet, then you can be sure that whatever ledger accounts we are going to prepare, it will go to either X or Y or Z ledger account, whatever the ledger accounts we have prepared. But in those ledger accounts, whichever ledger account it is affecting, it will have to go to credit side. Anything which is coming on the liability side of balance sheet will have to go to credit side somewhere, or it will have to go to the closing balance sheet liability side. So problem balance sheet, liability side, if there is any item, that item will have to go to solution ledger accounts credit side or solution balance sheet liability side. Problem balance sheet liability side, solution ledger account credit side, or solution balance sheet liability side. Similarly, if an item is appearing on the asset side of old balance sheet, if an item is appearing on the asset side of old balance sheet, then it will have to go to solution ledger accounts, whatever you have prepared, either this or that ledger account, but on debit side, or solution balance sheet asset side. What is the rule I have told you? Very simple rule. If an item is coming in the problem balance sheet, old balance sheet liability side, it should go to solution ledger accounts credit side or solution balance sheet liability side. On the other hand, if a particular problem is appearing in the problem balance sheet, that is old balance sheet asset side, then it will have to go to solution ledger accounts debit side or solution balance sheet asset side. That is how it will have to be considered. That is how it will have to be posted. So this is how the first item comes, old balance sheet. The second one is capital brought in by new partner. Generally you will find that new partner can be a working partner or maybe a sleeping partner. If he is a sleeping partner, he is anyway going to bring in capital, no question about it. If he is a working partner, in that case there is a chance that he may specify, I am going to bring in very small amount of capital, but I am going to bring in more expertise, I am going to bring in more knowledge, and I am going to bring in my efforts, with the help of which I am going to help the partnership firm to increase its business, grow its business. Still we are going to insist that he will have to bring in some monetary capital. The second step talks about monetary capital to be brought in by the new partner. It's very simple. Since money is coming in, entry will be cash is coming in, or if he is bringing in not cash, but if he is bringing in some asset like plant, machinery, vehicle or furniture, etc., then plant, machinery, furniture is coming in, and the new partner is the giver, creditor giver, so it will be transferred to the new partner's capital account credit side. So it's a simple step. Just check what is that which is brought in by the new partner and pass the entry. New partner is the giver and something is coming in. What is that something? That will have to be considered in the problem. Third adjustment is goodwill. In today's lecture I am going to consider brief understanding of goodwill, and next 3 lectures I have dedicated for the purpose of understanding goodwill. So don't worry about the concept. It's a very important concept, beautiful concept, and you are going to understand it thoroughly. You can teach it to others. I am very sure about it. Don't worry. Okay. And last one is revaluation. What is the idea of revaluation? Simple idea. Let us take an example. What I have told you, admission of a partner is like marriage of a girl in a family. So if it so happens, a little difficult example, a little rash example, a little complicated example, we are not praying that this should happen. In fact, we are praying that this should never happen to anybody. But if it so happens that there is a marriage, the girl has come in the family, and on the next day, if her husband expires, Satyavan Savitri ka story, if her husband expires, insurance company is ready to give some insurance claim. Now what is your opinion? The girl who has come into this family just yesterday, one day before, does she have any right to make any claim in the insurance money which she has received? Yes, she can. The law states that yes, she can, because she is now the part of family. It's a bad luck of the entire family that after such a beautiful and happy moment, tragedy struck to that family. But merely because a tragedy has struck the family, it does not mean that the incoming person cannot have the share in whatever compensation the family is getting. Same is the logic in partnership. Let us take an example that A, B and C are three partners. They started the business 10 years back. At that time, they have purchased some land building at say rupees 10 lakh. A, B and C, three partners, started the business 10 years back. At that time, they purchased some land and building at rupees 10 lakh. They worked hard. And after 10 years, now they have decided to admit D in the partnership. After taking D in the partnership, unfortunately, on the next day, after admission of D, on the next day, on account of any reason, God forbid, it should never happen to anybody. We should never wish like that. But if on account of any bad luck or any bad situation, if they decide to dissolve the partnership firm, if they decide to discontinue the partnership firm, if they decide to stop the partnership firm, then what will happen? If they decide to stop the partnership firm, it is necessary for them to sell all the assets, pay off all the liabilities, and then remaining amount they can take back to their home. Because liability will specify, if you have stopped the business, pay off our liability, pay off our amount, bank loan is taken, goods are purchased from the creditors on credit basis, or some assets are purchased on credit basis, or some expenses are pending, rent is pending, electricity bill is pending, salaries and wages are pending, outstanding are there. That will have to be paid. Pay it off. If you don't have money, sell off your assets. After selling the assets, pay off the liability, whatever money remains, that you can take back to your home. Now think about it. There is an asset called as land and building. There is an asset called as land and building which was purchased by ABC 10 years back at rupees 10 lakh. There is an asset called as land and building which was purchased by ABC for rupees 10 lakh 10 years back. And after admission of D, tomorrow, immediately on the next day, they are selling the land and building. What is your opinion? What will be the price they will get for land and building? Will it be 10 lakh or less than that, or it will be more than that? Obviously it is more than that. If it is going to be more than 10 lakh rupees, say rupees 50 lakh, say rupees 60 lakh, say rupees 1 crore, big amount. An asset of rupees 10 lakh in the balance sheet is getting sold at rupees 50 lakh, 50 lakh. That means there is a profit of rupees 40 lakh. Partners are happy. A, B and C are happy. They are saying that let us sell the asset, get the money, and then let us pay off our liabilities. That's how they are thinking. 10 lakh worth asset is sold at rupees 50 lakh. There is a profit of rupees 40 lakh. Now the question is whether this profit belongs to only ABC or it belongs to ABC and D. D is a new partner who just was admitted yesterday, and on account of a tragedy which has struck the partnership business, they have decided to discontinue the business. So now the question is whether the profit of rupees 40 lakh, it should be divided among three old partners A, B and C, or it should be divided in all the partners including new partner A, B, C and D. That is the question. And the partnership law is very clear. It is stating just like the new girl which has come in the family, who is having every right to enjoy the profits of the family, this new partner D is also having every right to share the profits of the sale of asset which was purchased by the old partners. This is a very dangerous thing. That means you can understand that in reality the increase in the price of land and building from rupees 10 lakh which was spent 10 years back to rupees 50 lakh which are received today, this difference of rupees 40 lakh, Mr. D has got no contribution in it. Neither he paid any money for the purpose of purchasing land and building, nor he was a partner when the prices of land and building went up. He has become partner only yesterday, and today on account of our bad luck we have decided to dissolve the partnership firm. So we are required to sell the particular land and building. So we are getting higher amount of money. This profit does not belong to D. Logically, yes, but legally, no. The legal position is simple. If a person is admitted into the partnership firm, then he has a right to share all the profits and losses of partnership firm. So D will be happy, because he knows that although he did not invest any money and although he has not been a partner of the firm for past 10 years, whatever appreciation took place, in this entire appreciation he is going to get his share of profit. D will be happy, but A, B and C will be unhappy. They will feel that this is not something which he deserves. Still he is going to get it, because law states that he is having every right to claim the share in this profit also. After admission, whatever transaction takes place, in that transaction whatever profit is there, he can enjoy. Now there is one more thing. In the balance sheet of the partnership firm, there is furniture or there is vehicle for rupees 50 lakh, 50. Just imagine. Now furniture is a depreciable asset, highly depreciable asset. So the furniture in the balance sheet is at rupees 50 lakh, 50 lakh. And then let us say it is going to get sold at rupees 5 lakh, because they have decided to dissolve the business. So 50 lakh worth rupees furniture is getting sold at rupees 5 lakh. There is a loss of rupees 45 lakh. Now what A, B and C will say? This loss of 45 lakh will have to be shared among all the 4 partners, because law is telling. And what D will try to say, no, I don't want any loss. I was not a partner for this particular partnership firm for past so many years. This furniture was purchased by you when I was not a partner. You should have depreciated it. I don't know why you did not charge depreciation for past 10 years. So everybody is thinking that this is a very good furniture, but it is 10-year-old furniture. So it is sold at rupees 5 lakh. This is a loss. Loss is on account of your old furniture. You only share it. Now there is a fight. A, B and C will say, when it was a profit on sale of land and building, you were ready to share. And when it is a loss on sale of furniture, you are not ready to share. D will specify, when it was a profit on sale of land and building, you were not ready to contribute, you were not ready to share. But when it is a loss on sale of furniture, you are ready to push that loss to me also. I don't want this situation. So the new partner and old partners may have these difficulties. To solve this difficulty and to help them work together, not to fight against each other, accounting is coming in between. Accountancy is telling them, don't fight. Let us take a simple idea. We will do the technique called as revaluation. What is the value of land and building in the books? The book value is 10 lakh. What is today's market value? On the date of admission of D, it is rupees 50 lakh, 50 lakh. So today, although you are not selling it, tomorrow your firm may be dissolved, tomorrow your firm may continue, and it may continue for next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. No problem. But as on today, if this land and building would have been sold, then it would have been sold at rupees how much? What is the amount it would have been sold? The A, B and C will specify at rupees 50 lakh. Then accountant will say, let me pass the entry, let me increase the value of land and building from rupees 10 lakh up to rupees 50 lakh. From rupees 10 lakh up to rupees 50 lakh. But cash is not coming in because it is not sold. We don't know whether the partnership firm will be dissolved on the next day, or it will be working for next 10 years, 20 years, or some other perpetual life. We don't know. So land and building is appreciated, land and building value is increased, land and building account is debited, that's good, but accounting states for every debit there should be equal and corresponding credit. So if you are saying, let me increase the value of land and building, in other words, you are saying the real account should be added. In other words, you are saying real account should be debited. So land and building account is debit. Some other account will have to be credited. Which account should be credited? Then we will ask, why the land and building value is going up? Are you paying some money? No, you are not paying any money. Without paying money, the value of land and building is going up. Are you creating a new liability? No, you are not creating any new liability, because you are not purchasing new land and building. It is the old land and building whose value has gone up. So land and building account debit, that is for sure, but neither cash is coming in, nor there is a liability to whom we are going to pay in future for purchase of land and building, because we did not purchase anything. It was a simple entry, land and building account debit, but credit cannot be given to cash account, credit cannot be given to liability account. Then to whom to give credit? That is the question. To whom to give credit? That is the question. Then we'll ask ourselves, if neither cash is going out nor any new liability is getting created, neither cash is going out nor any new liability is created, still the value of asset has gone up. It is just like a profit. We did nothing, still the value of asset went up. It is a profit. If it's a profit, it should be transferred to P&L account. But this is a profit not at the time of regular year end, but this is the profit at the time of special situation called as admission. Then we will not transfer this profit to the P&L account, but we will transfer this profit to a special account, which is the cousin brother of revaluation account. Since revaluation account is a cousin brother of P&L account, it's a cousin brother of P&L account. It will behave like P&L account. That means revaluation account is a nominal account. And the rules of revaluation account, nominal account होने की वजह से are going to be debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. So now the entry is ready for us. Land and building is appreciated. Entry will be land and building account debit 40 lakh from 10 lakh up to 50 lakh. So 10 lakh to 50 lakh, 40 lakh rupees appreciation. Entry will be land and building account debit 40 lakh to no cash going out, no liability created, so to revaluation account. That is called as revaluation. Similarly, furniture which was in the books at rupees 50 lakh, you want to keep it down at rupees 5 lakh, bring it down, that means it's a depreciation. So asset account is required to be reduced. Asset is to be reduced, that means it's a loss. Loss should be transferred to P&L account debit side. But this is a loss which is understood by us, known to us, came to our knowledge at the time of special transaction called as admission of a partner. That means we will not transfer it to our regular P&L account, but we will transfer it to its cousin brother special account, which comes only in very few cases. Today it has come, that is revaluation account. So we'll say instead of P&L account, it will be revaluation account debit. Why it should be debited? Because revaluation account is a nominal account, debit all expenses and losses. Furniture is depreciated, value has gone down. Asset value going down means a loss. Losses should be debited, so revaluation account debit, and asset value is required to be reduced, so it will have to be credited. So entry will be revaluation account debit to asset account. So the idea for revaluation is to actually speaking bring up or bring down the values of old assets and liabilities which are recorded at some book value that will have to be brought to its today's market value. That is the idea of revaluation. So these are the 4 steps which are going to take, or these are the 4 steps. These are the 4 important points which we should be very much careful for when it comes to the problem of admission. First point is old balance sheet. The rule is very simple. Old balance sheet behaves like a trial balance. Whatever is on the liability side of old balance sheet, that is problem balance sheet, should go to solution ledger account credit side or solution balance sheet liability side. Whatever is available in or whatever is appearing in old balance sheet asset side should go to solution ledger account debit side or solution balance sheet asset side. Next, capital brought in by new partner, simple adjustment, one single entry, simple adjustment, no multiple things also. Only thing required to be seen is what is that which is bringing in. Is he bringing in cash or is bringing in cash and some furniture, land, building, plant, machinery, vehicles, etc. So whatever is coming in, debit what comes in, and new partner is a giver, credit the giver. What is goodwill we are going to discuss in detail afterwards. So let us keep it pending. And last point is revaluation. If after admission, on account of any reason, the partnership is dissolved, maybe on the next day or maybe at a later point of time, then new partner will automatically be entitled for all the profits and he will automatically be liable for all the losses on account of increase or decrease in the values of assets and liabilities when he was not a partner. This situation should not happen. So it is better to bring up or bring down all the assets and liabilities from their book value, that is the value at which it is recorded in balance sheet, to their today's market value. This process of bringing up or bringing down the book values of assets and liabilities to their current market value is called as revaluation account or revaluation, step of revaluation. Step of revaluation involves revaluation account. Revaluation account is a cousin brother of P&L account, so it behaves like P&L account. It's a nominal account, debit all expenses and losses and credit all gains and incomes and gains. So whenever any profit happens on account of revaluation, revaluation account will be credited, and whenever any loss happens on account of revaluation, then revaluation account will be debited. These are the 4 important points. Let us now try to convert them into steps. So just now I have discussed only points. Then I'll discuss steps. In steps there will be multiple entries. So 3 different words, please keep in mind. Number 1, important points. Number 2, steps. And number 3, journal entries. How many journal entries? I can't tell. It will depend upon the problem. Some problem may be completed only by passing 5 entries, 6 entries, 7 entries. And some problems may require even 15, 18, 19, 20 entries also. It depends upon what kind of problem is designed. They may specify different point for revaluation of every asset. One revaluation for land, one revaluation for furniture, one revaluation for vehicle, one revaluation for plant and machinery and stock and debtors, and one revaluation for creditors. So in the point of revaluation, there may be 5-6 entries. Depends on the problem. I hope you have understood the concept what I'm saying. So there are 4 points which every time, the moment of admission of partner problem is in front of you, first check, hey, where is the old balance sheet? What is the capital brought in by new partner? What is the adjustment of goodwill? And what is the adjustment for revaluation? These 4 points we should always be checking for. And then we will try to convert them into accounting steps, and then we will try to consider for each step how many entries may be required and how to pass those entries. I hope now it is clear in your mind what is the way in which I am going ahead. The next point is now therefore steps in accounting for admission of a partner. Earlier was important points. Now is not important points but important steps. First step, open necessary ledger accounts. Which ledger account should be prepared? Revaluation account. I have already told you revaluation account is the cousin brother of P&L account. So it's a nominal account. And remember, it is also having one more name. It is having 2 names. Just like all of us are having one name, that is for school and college, etc. And one more name, that is our nickname at our home. Similarly, revaluation account is also having 2 names. One is official name, one is nickname. Revaluation account is also called as P&L adjustment account. Revaluation account is also called as P&L adjustment account. Now, sir, which account name I should use in examination? Should I use revaluation account or I should use P&L adjustment account? It depends upon the problem. If the problem is asking you to prepare revaluation account, then you should use the word revaluation account. If the problem is asking you to prepare P&L adjustment account, then you should change the name. You should call it as P&L adjustment account. And if the problem is silent, then whatever name you like, whatever spelling you can remember in examination, that spelling you can use, either revaluation or P&L adjustment. Generally I use the word revaluation because it's a small word, short word. I can quickly write the things. It becomes easy for me to write. So if the problem tells revaluation, we'll follow revaluation. If the problem tells P&L adjustment, we'll follow P&L adjustment. If the problem is silent, then we will use the word revaluation account. Next one is partners capital account. Next one is partners current account, if any. This is important, if any. Why if any? Because sometimes the problem may have fixed capital method and sometimes the problem may have fluctuating capital method. If the problem is having fixed capital method, then in that case you will have capital account as well as current account. If the problem has fixed capital method, then you will have capital account as well as current account. In such case, you will have to prepare capital account separately and current account separately. Some authors say in such situation, capital account can directly be transferred to balance sheet and only current account will be prepared by us in ledger accounts. Yes, that is also okay. Depends upon you. One of the problems which I'll be solving in this series of lectures is going to contain capital account and current account. Okay. Next one is cash or bank account, and wherever the problem is following fluctuating capital method, that means all the entries of interest, profit, loss, drawings, everything is required to be done in capital account itself. Then you need not prepare current account. That's why we are saying current account if any. If the existing balance sheet, problem balance sheet is containing current account, or if there is an adjustment which tells you to prepare current account, then only you prepare it. Otherwise it is not required. Compulsory revaluation account and partners capital account. Current account optional depending upon the problem. Next one is cash or bank account. Prepare cash or bank account. Then prepare goodwill account only if it is not brought in cash by the new partner. In fact, I have considered preparation of goodwill account even when it is brought in by the new partner also. In one of the solutions I'm going to do that particular thing. to understand exactly how it happens. But most important, when it is not brought in cash by the new partner, then goodwill account should be generally prepared by us, and closing balance sheet is required to be prepared. So step number 1, open necessary ledger accounts, revaluation account, which is also called as P&L adjustment account, which is a nominal account, so debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Next, partners capital account. Next, partners current account, if any, cash or bank account. Partners capital account and current account are personal accounts. Cash and bank account is real account. Goodwill account is real account, and closing balance sheet obviously is a statement, so there is no need of thinking about personal, real, nominal. Step number 1 is complete. Step 1, open necessary ledger accounts. Step 2. Step 2 is transfer of assets and liabilities from the existing balance sheet. That means from the problem वाला balance sheet. प्रॉब्लेमच्या बॅलन्स शीट मधले वेगवेगळे आयटम्स आता आपल्याला पोस्ट करायचे आहेत. And the rule is, if it is on liability side, it will have to go to some account credit side or closing balance sheet liability side. If it is on asset side, it will have to go to some account debit side or closing balance sheet asset side. That will have to be completed by us. So liability side and asset side. Name of the liability and where to transfer. That is how it is required to be seen. Name of the liability and where to transfer. If it is a partner's capital account, it will have to go to partner's capital account credit side because we have prepared separate account for the same. If it is partner's current account, it will have to go to partner's current account credit side because we have prepared a separate account for the same. General reserve. This is an important thing for me. General reserve. What is a general reserve? General reserve means in the past, before the admission of the new partner, the old partnership has already made profit. This profit from the P&L account should have gone to partner's capital account on credit side every year. Every year when they are making profit, trading account gives you GP, P&L account gives you NP, and then this NP should be transferred to partner's capital account. But it may happen in some partnership firm that instead of transferring whatever amount of profit they have made directly to partner's capital account, they may transfer some amount of net profit to a separate account called a general reserve to be distributed in future. So they are not transferring entire profit directly to partner's capital account, but they are retaining some amount of profit in their business itself. That is called as general reserve. So general reserve, P&L account, reserve fund on the liability side represent past undistributed profits. Past profits which were made in the past, which should have been distributed to the old partners in the past, but were not distributed to the old partners in the past. They are still remaining in balance sheet. Now I have already discussed in detail, it is past undistributed profit, the profit which should have been transferred to the old partners in the past year itself, maybe first in the last year or last to last year, or maybe 5 years back, or whatever the case may be. But it should have been transferred to them, which was not transferred to them. So now it should be transferred to them only. New partner, it should not be transferred. Sir, I'll keep it as it is then. I'll directly transfer it to closing balance sheet liability side. It is in the problem wala balance sheet. I will transfer it to the solution wala balance sheet. I'll say no. If you will transfer it to solution wala balance sheet, that means if tomorrow, on the next day, on account of any bad luck, if the partnership firm is required to be dissolved, then the reserves will be given to all the partners including new partner. New partner will be happy, old partners will feel bad because it was their profit which they could have actually taken in the past, but they had maintained in the business, and now unnecessarily new partner is getting the share. That difficulty should not come. So best way is to tell them, the moment you are taking new partner in, first you transfer your old partner, old general reserve if any, old reserve fund if any, old P&L account of the liability side if any, that should be transferred to straight away old partner's capital or current account credit side. In which ratio? In their old profit sharing ratio. PSR is a short form of profit sharing ratio. So it should not be transferred to all partners, it should be transferred to old partners. It should not be transferred in their new profit sharing ratio, it should be transferred in their old profit sharing ratio because it's an old profit. Next one is bank overdraft. It should be transferred to bank account credit side, or it can be transferred to liability side of the closing balance sheet. And partners capital account, current account, general reserve, bank overdraft, everything is over. other than these accounts, if there are any other liabilities, for example creditors, bank loan, outstanding expenses, loan from X, loan from Y, loan from Z, any such account, then we will ask, check the adjustments. Are these items having any adjustment? If yes, then they should be transferred to closing balance sheet inner column and leave at least one line below them blank so that you can make the adjustment properly. If there is one adjustment, leave one line. If there are two adjustments, leave 3 lines. If there are 3 adjustments, leave 5 lines. If there are 4 adjustments, leave 7 lines. Shabas. If there are 5 adjustments, leave 9 lines. Number of adjustments plus number of adjustment minus 1. So 5 plus 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. That means 5 plus 4 is equal to 9. If there is any adjustment, closing balance sheet liability side inner column. If there is no adjustment, then closing balance sheet liability side outer column. That is how it will have to be done. Next one, asset side. Name of the asset and where to transfer. Asset side, it will be cash or bank account. If it is given on the balance sheet asset side, it will go to cash or bank account debit side. If partner's capital is coming on asset side, now it is impossible for you to have same partner's capital on the liability side as well as on the asset side. That is never going to happen. A particular partner's capital account will either have a credit balance or it will have a debit balance. It cannot have both the balances. But it is possible that out of the 3 partners, 2 partners capital account is coming on liability side and 1 partner's capital account is coming on asset side. Yes, it is possible. So if any partner's capital account is coming on asset side, then our rule, if you remember our rule, what was our rule? Old balance sheet. Anything on liability side should go to credit side or closing balance sheet liability side, or anything on asset side should go to different ledger account debit side or closing balance sheet asset side. So here it will go to partner's capital account debit side. Same is the case with current account. If the current account is having any debit balance, that is it is coming on asset side, then we will transfer it to partner's current account debit side. Now let me disappear for you to see the things which are written behind me. Yes, P&L account. If there is a P&L account on liability side, then it will be treated just like general reserve. But if it is a P&L account on the asset side, in that case our rule is that anything which is there on asset side should be transferred to different ledger account debit side or balance sheet asset side. This is the past undistributed loss. If the P&L account is on liability side, if the general reserve is on liability side, if the reserve fund is on liability side, it represents past undistributed profits. And if it is on asset side, it represents past undistributed losses. So new partner will say, if you are already having some kachra in your balance sheet, if you are having some loss in your balance sheet, if you are having some problem in your balance sheet on the asset side, you first of all transfer it to yourself. Don't keep it for me. So it should be transferred to old partners capital account or current account debit side in their old profit sharing ratio. PSR means profit sharing ratio. And all other assets, if there is an adjustment, then closing balance sheet asset side inner column. If there is no adjustment, then closing balance sheet asset side outer column. Okay, so step number 2 is over. Step 1, open necessary ledger accounts. Step number 2, transfer of assets and liabilities from the existing balance sheet. Step number 3, capital brought in by new partner. So important point, second point, and accounting step, third step. Capital brought in by new partner. Entry will be cash is coming in or bank is the receiver, so cash or bank account debit, and new partner is the giver, credit the giver, so new partner's capital account should be credited. I am repeating again, entry is cash or bank account debit to new partner's capital account being capital brought in by new partner. Simple entry. 11th standard student can also pass the entry. 12th standard, you intelligent students like you can immediately understand what is coming in, who is the giver. Entry is whatever is coming in debit, and whoever is the giver credit. Simple. Now third important point and fourth step of accounting, goodwill. How to treat goodwill? Goodwill is a lengthy adjustment. It does not mean every problem will have lengthy adjustment. It is lengthy because there are multiple varieties which are possible. Different ways in which the adjustment language may be framed, your treatment will change. Generally, we can divide the adjustment of goodwill into 2 categories. First one, goodwill not appearing in the existing balance sheet, and second one, goodwill appearing in the existing balance sheet. First one, goodwill not appearing in the existing balance sheet, and second one, goodwill appearing in the existing balance sheet. And in these two categories we can again have subcategories. Goodwill is brought in cash by the new partner, or goodwill is not brought in cash by the new partner. So there are multiple columns I have created. In this lecture I am not going to discuss all these different entries in detail. In this lecture, let me just tell you one thing. Whenever the adjustment is of goodwill, listen here carefully, I want your full concentration. Whenever the adjustment is of goodwill, you must remember there are three parts for any adjustment of goodwill. First one, which value should you consider? Second one, which ratio should you use? And the third one is what is the entry you are going to pass. First one, which value. Second one, which ratio. Third one, what is the entry. Value, ratio, entry. Value, ratio, entry. Any adjustment of goodwill, search for these three different things. What is the value? Which ratio I will have to use? Apply your mind. Which entry will have to be passed? Apply your mind. How to apply mind? We are going to consider in 3 separate lectures, don't worry. For each of these three different things, value, ratio and entry, I am going to have a separate lecture for each of them. So today just remember in this lecture that we are required to consider goodwill adjustment. Goodwill adjustment involves 3 different things. Number 1, value, which will have to be seen by us, checked by us, identified by us in the adjustment. Ratio will have to be thinking about it, which ratio should be used. And entry will have to construct the entry. Although I have given the entries here, I don't want you to by heart them. You should be in a position to construct the entries on your own. Create the entries. Accounting entry is nothing but passing the transaction in accounting language. Remember, accounting is a language subject. In many lectures I will use this sentence. Accounting is a language subject. It is a language of business. If you can translate a Marathi sentence into English, if you can translate a English sentence into Hindi or Marathi, then it is very easy for you to translate the same English sentence into the language of accountancy. The language of accountancy is having very simple grammatical rules, and it is already telling that it is not going to record or write everything. It is going to write only business transactions which involves movement of some or other value, monetary value. Then only it is going to record. So it's a very simple language, beautiful language. Read the sentence carefully. Adjustment carefully, you can immediately translate it into accounting language. So don't worry about that particular thing. I'll be discussing all the entries in detail, and I will help you to create the entries on your own. So in the exam, you are not required to scratch your head. What is entry? What is entry? How should I remember? No, nothing of that sort. Don't remember. You create the entries. Okay. But 3 questions. What are the 3 questions in the case of adjustment of goodwill? First one, which value, which ratio, what entry. Value must be given in the adjustment, ratio we may have to calculate, and entries we may have to pass. Okay, so at this moment just remember these 3 different things: value, ratio, entry. Value, ratio, entry. What is the amount to be considered, ratio to be calculated, entries to be passed? We are going to consider separate lecture for each of these points in different situations. Okay, so let me go ahead now. Step number 4 is over. Step number 5, revaluation. I have already discussed the logic of revaluation. After admission of a partner, if any asset is sold or any asset is discarded or any liability is required to be paid off, etc., there is any profit or loss on account of such asset discarding or liability paying off or liability cancelled, then the new partner is also entitled to share the profits or losses on account of same. So this is a dangerous situation. New partner may be very happy to share the profits, but he will be reluctant to share the losses. Similarly, old partners will be reluctant to share the profits, but they'll be happy in sharing the losses. So to avoid that, accountant is telling them, let us revalue today. So if the asset of rupees 10 lakh, today's market value is 50 lakh, let us pass the entry, increase the asset. So from 10 lakh it will go to 50 lakh, and on the next day, if on account of any unfortunate situation your firm is required to be dissolved and the asset is sold, it will be sold at rupees 50 lakh, and the book value by that time is already 50 lakh. 50 lakh asset sold at rupees 50 lakh. That means at that time there will be no profit, no loss. So new partner will not be getting any difficulty. Old partners will not get any heartburn. Are you getting the idea? That is the idea of revaluation of assets and liabilities. So I have considered two different parts: what may happen for liabilities and what may happen for asset. Liabilities may increase, or liabilities value may go down, decrease, or some unrecorded liabilities may have to be brought into books, that they were there but unfortunately they were not in the books. We had forgotten to record them. So we'll have to record them now. So these three situations are possible. An existing liability is increased, or an existing liability is decreased, or an existing liability but which was not there in books is required to be recorded in books. Now when a liability increases, it's a loss for us, and we have already discussed that our revaluation account, whose nickname is P&L adjustment account, is a nominal account. So liability increase is a loss. Loss means revaluation account debit, and credit will be given to the liability account. If the liability is decreasing, then the entry will be liability account debit to revaluation account. And if it is an unrecorded liability which is required to be brought into books, so all of a sudden we are suddenly having a liability. No new goods are coming in, no new services are coming in, no asset is coming in, still there is a liability. So it's a loss for us. Entry will be again loss means revaluation account debit, so that respective liability account. Once you understand liability, asset is very easy. Assets are increasing, it's a profit. Assets are decreasing, it's a loss. And unrecorded assets are required to be brought into books. Unrecorded assets are required to be brought into books will be called as profit. So profit means revaluation account credit and loss means revaluation account debit. You can create the entry on your own. Simple. Ask yourself, asset going up, profit or loss? Asset going down, profit or loss? Once you know profit or loss, you know how to deal with revaluation account. Revaluation account is a nominal account. Debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. So entry will be, if the assets are increasing, entry will be asset to revaluation. If the assets are decreasing, entry will be revaluation to asset. And if unrecorded assets are coming into books now, entry will be asset account debit to revaluation account. Step number 5 is over. Now step number 6, close revaluation account, find out profit or loss, transfer it to old partner's capital account or current account, obviously, not just capital account, depends upon the problem, in their old PSR. If you are going to transfer this profit or loss of revaluation to all partners, then the entire exercise is useless. Our idea is, if there is a profit or there is a loss on account of revaluation of past assets which were purchased by the old partners and their values are changing, then the new partner does not have any right to share the profit or loss on account of such assets revaluation. It should be transferred to only old partners in their old PSR. So step number 6 is very clear. Close revaluation account, find out profit or loss, transfer it to old partners capital in their old profit sharing ratio. And if there is a profit, then entry will be revaluation account debit to old partners capital account. Now some of you may specify, but sir, revaluation account is a nominal account. And the logic says debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. So if it's a profit, then revaluation account should be credited. No, we are closing revaluation account now. It's a profit. That means already revaluation account credit side is heavy and debit side is smaller or it is lighter. That's why the balancing figure is coming on debit side. So if the balancing figure is coming on debit side, revaluation account is required to be debited to tally the same. That means it's a profit. Just like your net profit. Just like your gross profit. Gross profit comes to trading account debit side. Net profit comes to trading P&L account debit side. Similarly, revaluation profit will come to revaluation account debit side, and it will go to old partners capital or current account credit side in their old ratio. And if there is a loss, that means debit side is heavy. So to tally the account, the balancing figure will have to come on credit side. So entry will be old partners capital account debit to revaluation account. I hope you can construct the entry on your own. Just simple example. Revaluation account is like a nominal account. So trading account may profit is coming on debit, GP. P&L account मध्ये profit is coming on debit, NP. तसंच revaluation account मध्ये profit will come on debit आणि loss will come on credit. आणि मग तो कुठे ट्रान्सफर करायचा आहे? पार्टनर्स कॅपिटल किंवा करंट अकाउंटला ट्रान्सफर करायचा आहे. नेक्स्ट स्टेप नंबर 7, क्लोज द फॉलोइंग अकाउंट्स एंड ट्रांसफर देम टू द क्लोजिंग बैलेंस शीट. फिर वट एवर एक्स्ट्रा अकाउंट्स यू हैव प्रिपेयर्ड, कैश और बैंक अकाउंट, पार्टनर्स कैपिटल अकाउंट, पार्टनर्स करंट अकाउंट, गुडविल अकाउंट, close all those accounts, find out their balances and transfer it to the balance sheet. The closing balance sheet should tally. Now remember, sometimes The problem may also tell you what should be the expected closing balance of partners. There are some 3 to 4 problems which talk about what should be the expected closing balance of partners. So you will have to close the partner's capital account by keeping the expected balance first. Then you will find out whether the partner is equal to bring in cash from house, or the partner should withdraw some cash because he's having extra capital, or that difference will be transferred to loan account, or that difference will be transferred to current account. All these things we are going to see separately. That comes in step number 7 itself. So let me revise quickly. Step number 1 is open necessary ledger accounts. Revaluation account, which is also called as P&L adjustment account. Both of them are nothing but two different names of the same account, which is a cousin brother of P&L account. So nominal account, partners capital account, partners current account, cash or bank account, goodwill account, closing balance sheet. Then step number 2, transfer of assets and liabilities. Simple rule: anything from old balance sheet, problem balance sheet, should go to some or other ledger account credit side, or it should go to closing balance sheet liability side. Anything from problem balance sheet asset side should go to closing balance sheet asset side or some other account debit side. Simple rule to be kept in mind. And if there is old undistributed profit or old undistributed losses, it should be transferred to old partners in their old PSR. If there is a current account, it should go to current account. If there is a capital account, it should go to capital account. If all the items are having any adjustment, then they should go in the inner column. If there is no adjustment, then they can go to the outer column. Step number 3, capital brought in by new partner. Entry is cash or bank account debit to new partner's capital account. Step number 4, I have not discussed any entries, but I have told you that step number 4 involves 3 different concepts. First concept, value, which value of goodwill to be considered. Second concept, ratio, and third concept, which accounting entry to be passed. And remember, we are not going to by heart the accounting entries. We are going to construct the entries in the exam hall. That is a very simple technique. Don't worry. You can very easily pass the entries on your own without remembering, without by hearting anything. Okay. Step number 5 is revaluation of assets and liabilities. I have discussed the logic of revaluation. Why should we do revaluation? Now, when you do revaluation, what is the effect which is required to be given? If liabilities are increasing, then it's a loss. If liabilities are decreasing, it's a profit. If unrecorded liabilities are coming in the books, then it's a loss. Loss should be debited to revaluation account. So wherever there is a loss, entry is revaluation to liability. Wherever there is a profit, entry will be liability to revaluation. On the assets, again same. Increase of asset is opposite of increase in liability. That means it's a profit. Since it's a profit, it should be transferred to revaluation account credit side. So entry will be asset to revaluation. Decrease of asset is a loss, just like depreciation. So entry will be revaluation to asset. Unrecorded asset is brought in the books for the first time. It's a profit. Entry is asset to revaluation. Step number 5 is over. Then close revaluation account. Find out profit or loss. If the balancing figure is coming on debit side, that means it's a profit. If the balancing figure is coming on credit side, that means it's a loss. Profit, profit, profit. Entry will be revaluation account debit to old partners capital or current account in their old ratio. Loss, loss, loss. Entry will be old partners capital or current account debit in their old ratio to revaluation account. Once step number 6 is over, then close all the accounts, find out their balance, transfer it to balance sheet, and balance sheet should tally. So I have completed 7 steps of accounting for admission of a partner. 4 important points divided by means 7 different steps, and entries can be multiple entries. And I have not discussed step number 4 in detail. I have just told you what are the 3 points which I'll be discussing, and for each point I'm going to conduct a separate lecture. What is the value of goodwill? How to determine the value of goodwill? Which is the ratio to be used for passing the entry, and what is the entry to be passed? I'll be considering 3 different separate lectures for the same. So continue listening to the lecture. The first 3 lectures you may find little bit heavy, conceptual, theoretical, थोडंसं बोरिंग होईल कदाचित सांगता येत नाही, पण ह्याच्याकडे लक्ष देत याल तितकं तुम्हाला पुढचे सगळे प्रॉब्लेम सोपे जातील. सो बी विथ मी, and in the next lecture I'm going to talk about valuation of goodwill. Okay, bye bye, thank you.